And while we're waiting for Coach Tim Cohn to connect, we now go with our resident analyst in the PBA, Juan Banal. Juan B, good morning. I apologize first and foremost for my hoarse voice. You know how it is after the NCAA Game 3, UAAP Game 3. I was there naman as a supporter, or well, cheering for both teams. But thank you again for being on the show, 1B.
Thanks for having me. Great coverage, by the way, with the NCAA. Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I even saw your brother there at the at Inares in Game 3. Juan, here we are. Finals, Commissioner's Cup. Bay Area versus Ginebra. Ginebra versus Bay Area. First of all, let's get your take on this rare final series. Ginebra against a foreign team in the Bay Area Dragons, a stacked team. Of course, Nicholas Studley was the first foreign guest team to win a PBA championship way back in 1980 during the Invitational Conference. I want to get your take on Ginebra and Bay Area in the Commissioner's Cup Best of 7.
Well, when we first witnessed Bay Area coming into the league, we saw their lineup, we saw their players, we saw their skill level, we saw their system, we saw their coach. Immediately, we were very much impressed, and I would have to say intimidated, right? But for Bay Area to actually claim that they came in and conquered, they have to dethrone Ginebra in terms of being the most favored team in the country, right? For them to say we came in the PBA, we stormed their gate, and we came out on top. This is their last barrier to that claim, and what better way to do it than to have Ginebra face them in the top, and Ginebra and then Justin Brownlee, they're synonymous. They just come together, and whenever it's a conference that Justin Brownlee's present, you know that easily he is the target. And if defeating Ginebra will get you to the top, then so be it. And so it's an exciting series. I'm hoping it's going to be a Game 7 again.
It's going to be one great series because, syempre, Ginebra, fan favorites. They're the most popular team here in the PBA against a foreign team. So it will be a home court advantage for Ginebra basically in every game. And Bay Area also gaining fans, but still against Ginebra, it will be really exciting. Looking at the matchup scoring average-wise, Juan, tinitingnan ko, lamang dito yung Bay Area this season. Pero sa bench scoring, mukhang mas malalim naman ang Ginebra. The rest halos dikit na eh. What are the strengths and weaknesses as we are flashing on our screens right now? Ano yung nakikita mo dito na magiging advantage for either Ginebra and Bay Area 1?
Well, like you said, I think averaging 100 per game is just a byproduct of their field goal shooting. 49% from the field, 37%. A deadly potent offensive team. And before it used to Hello?
Yes, Juan. Your line is a bit spotty lang. But what were you saying? Sige, go on.
Yeah, Ginebra used to be that team that everybody feared in terms of offense, the way they run their plays, their set play, especially now that they're running the floor. It's just a different Ginebra, but then again, Bay Area is beating them to that category. But Ginebra, on the other hand, with the acquisitions of different players and then just Scotty Thompson emerging as the MVP, all of a sudden, the depth of Ginebra is something that Bay Area will have to fear, right? Right now, Ginebra is second in limiting their opponents to 93.9 per game. So that's a huge boost to before we only knew Ginebra as a well-oiled offensive team, and we know how many assists. They're number 1 in assists in the conference right now. But then their defense is also doing wonders for them. And I think now this the versatility of the kind of players that Coach Tim has that can play multiple positions, that's going to be posing a threat to Bay Area, because Bay Area right now, they've been running a very tight ship, rotating very little players. And if this is going to reach to Game 7, then that's going to be a problem for Bay Area in terms of depth.
Well, Juan, let's bring in right now the PBA's winningest coach, one and only Coach Tim Cohn of Barangay Ginebra. Coach Tim, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, here we are. Juan and I were talking about what an exciting matchup this will be. You've been into a lot of battles, Coach Tim. to say the least. And in the PBA, you fought the best of the best, but this is rare. Ginebra facing a foreign team, a potent foreign team in Bay Area. I want to get your thoughts first before we take our first break. What makes this upcoming showdown, Bay Area versus Ginebra, exciting and a great Christmas treat to the fans, Coach?
Well, I think it's just more than a PBA finals in my mind. I mean, I think that's the key, is that we're looking at it as a, it's not just about Ginebra against Bay Area. It's about the PBA against a foreign team. It's almost as if we're like the national team trying to play somebody else. And I think that is, you're playing for more than just yourselves at this point. And I think that really motivates the guys. And I think that that motivation is going to make everybody play at an incredibly high level. And so I think we're going to see a finals that's going to be harder and better than the finals you've seen in the past.
Well, Coach, again, thank you for being here on the show. We still have a lot to talk about. Coach Tim Cone, Ginebra head coach, along with basketball analyst Juan Banal. But first, we got to pay the bills. Let's take a quick break. Our all-out preview of the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals between Bay Area and Ginebra will continue with Coach Tim Cone and Juan Banal after the break. Stay tuned to Sports Desk, only here on CNN Philippines. We'll be right back. We're back to Sports Desk, only here on CNN Philippines. Our top story for today, Barangay Ginebra versus Bay Area in the PBA Commissioner's Cup Best of 7 Final Series. And now, we're going all out on this story with the winningest coach in the PBA, Ginebra head coach Tim Cone, and basketball analyst Juan Banal. There they are. Coach, let's talk about your formidable opponents, the Bay Area Dragons, number 1 in the league, basically the whole conference, and your only face-off against Bay Area. You were one of the few teams that beat Bay Area 111-93. Justin Brownlee had a superb night, 46 points in that one, 12 boards, 3 assists. Bay Area's import then, who will also be their import in this series, will be Andrew Nicholson, 28 points, 12 boards in that one. He also had a big game last night to close out that series against San Miguel. Do you expect Andrew Nicholson to be better in this series? Because last night, as I said, 42 points, 21 rebounds. Chances are he wants to make up for that performance during that elimination round game when Bay Area lost to you guys, Coach Tim.
Well, yeah, we played Nicholson in his first game in the PBA. They had just changed Powell to Nicholson, so he was still getting his feet wet. He wasn't really ready. He came out and I think he scored 26 of those 28 points in the first half. And he was completely dominant on us in the first half, but he wasn't quite in game shape at that point, and he kind of wore down in the second half. And we were able to take advantage of that. We don't see that happening this time around. He's been playing regularly. He's been playing heavy minutes, so he's already used to doing that. And we expect him to be a load for us. He's so incredibly versatile. He can, he's a tremendous 3-point shooter, and he's hit that big 3 against San Miguel last night. The guy was all draped all over him, and he still knocked it down.
Yeah.
That was basically the game winner.
Yeah.
But he's also great inside. He can put the ball on the floor and drive if you get too tight on him. So he draws a lot of attention, and that opens up things for the Kobe Lambs and the Blankleys and the Yangs to knock down shots.
Well, Coach Tim, you mentioned that Andrew Nicholson is going to be a problem. He can score you from inside outside. He is a former NBA player, and he's just very dangerous. Juan, I want to go to you, being an analyst. Do you think this is a better matchup? I mean, do you think Ginebra can do better compared to, with all due respect to San Miguel, they also have their bigs there. But of course, with Coach Tim, he has Japet at his disposal. You have Jamie Malonzo. You have Christian Stan Hardinger. Do you see this being a problem with Andrew Nicholson as Coach Tim? You heard it from Coach Tim moments ago. He just said he's just a load, a tremendous 3-point shooter, a big who can hit the outside shot. He can kill you from the inside. What are your thoughts, and who do you see? I'm not going to ask Coach Tim for a strategy, but who do you see, Juan, as an analyst, that Coach Tim will probably use as a defensive scheme against Andrew Nicholson?
Yeah. Tim did mention a while ago the versatility of Nicholson. I think that's his advantage against San Miguel, because no matter who San Miguel placed on him, he was smart enough to know what exactly to do. It's either he's going to spot up from the outside, even if there were shorter players guarding him, he can make it from the outside with a hand on his face. And then if ever the bigs come out, he can bring the ball inside and just tremendous footwork on this guy. Very smart, high basketball IQ, knows what to do and what to use at specific points in the game. And whoever the defender is thrown at him, I think Ginebra also will have a better matchup against him because they have, they did guard each other in their last meeting in the eliminations. And we're talking about Justin Brownlee and Nicholson. And I think Justin Brownlee has the size and the strength that can match up. At some point, Japeth also has the length that can do that. So I think whenever he decides to change up his game, I think Ginebra will be there right in front of him. And so I think it's really going to be a better matchup compared to that which we saw versus San Miguel.
Coach Tim, Jamie Malonzo is your top local scorer for Ginebra at this conference, averaging 13.6 points and second most minutes, 30.4, just next to Scotty, his 35.2 minutes. Could this be Jamie's potential breakout series or game? Because we know what Jamie can do. We've seen him. He's just really spectacular, offensively, defensively. A young athletic wing who can guard multiple positions as well. But wearing a Ginebra uniform, this will really test Jamie Malonzo now that he's being considered one of the faces, the future faces of this franchise.
Well, I think you have to kind of temper your expectations for Jamie because this is his first finals appearance.
Correct.
I think he'll get better and better as the series goes along. I think he'll grow a lot in this series. I thought he grew a lot in the Magnolia series. Magnolia threw a lot of different guys at him.
Yeah.
Sometimes he had a Mark Boroka or Gia Halalon, and that was a tough matchup for him because they were as quick as he was, and he's used to beating people with quickness, and he had to learn how to kind of use his size against them. And that they have some, Blankley is a guy that can match up to Jamie in terms of size, and Kobe Lamb has great quickness. So, he's going to have his hands full, both offensively and defensively in the series. But, his athleticism will shine through. And I think it's really hard to focus on Jamie when you got a Justin on the floor, you got a Scotty, you got a LA, you got all these other guys on the floor. It's hard to just focus your attention on Jamie. And if you don't, he's going to beat you in a lot of different ways.
Juan, your thoughts on that? And Coach Tim touched up on it as well with the Bay Area having Kobe Lamb, his conference average of 12.9 points. But in the last 3 games, Kobe Lamb averaging 21 points per game. Then you have Songwei Zhu, 11 points a game this conference. Then he's been averaging 14 points in that series against SMB. Do you see this Bay Area? It's like peaking at the right time. Again, this is different. Throw the numbers out, but we're in the playoffs. We're in the finals. It's a best-of-7 series. What do you think, Juan?
I would have to say that point production is also tied to the rotation that Bay Area has been implementing so far. I think they're really tightening the rotation, so they have more minutes now because there are more minutes on the floor. They're able to produce more. So I think that's the reason why their averages have definitely increased. But I think that's going to be a problem against Ginebra because of the depth of Ginebra and how Coach Tim can just pick anybody off the bench and they can explode anytime and run different kinds of systems and plays against and give you different looks. So if you're going to look at a long series, then Bay Area might have to depend a lot also on their bench to match up against Ginebra.
Well, don't go anywhere. Let's take another quick break. Again, we got to pay the bills. Our all-out preview of the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals between Barangay Ginebra and the Bay Area Dragons will continue with Barangay Ginebra head coach Tim Cohn and our basketball analyst Juan Banal. You're watching Sports Desk only here on CNN Philippines, where we go all out for the day's top sports stories. We're still continuing our all-out preview of the PBA Commissioner's Cup Best-of-7 Finals with Ginebra head coach Tim Cohn, winningest coach in the PBA, and basketball analyst Juan Banal on the left. Okay, Juan, Before I go to Coach Tim, go back to Coach Tim, I want to get your thoughts on the important matchup. Yes, we talked about Andrew Nicholson. Of course, they have another potent guy on the side there with Miles Powell, but they are going with Nicholson. As you take a look at his numbers in 9 games, 36, 13, and 2 assists, compared to resident super import Justin Brownlee, Mr. Do-It-All, with 28 points, 10 boards, and almost 7 dimes a game. What do you think about this import matchup, Nicholson versus Brownlee, 1B?
Well, I think Bay Area has been heavily depending on Andrew Nicholson for the past few games, especially their games against San Miguel. On the other hand, you've got I would have to say, somewhat a well-rested Justin Brownlee in the sense that he's getting a lot of help from the locals. It just with the depth of Ginebra now, that allows for them to give some rest and pace Justin Brownlee compared to before. So I think that's going to be a crucial factor. We both know that both imports are highly talented. They bring a lot to the floor. They bring a lot for their teams. But right now, with Justin Brownlee being able to know, and he's been playing in this kind of level and in this tournament for quite some time now, so he knows how to pace himself. I'm sure Coach Tim knows how to pace also Justin Brownlee when he needs to pick up, the same way LA and the same way Japet also picks their time to shine and peak. For Nicholson, it's going to be a tough battle if he's going to have to heavily carry the load all by himself. So that I think that's going to be a crucial element and something that we watch out for the entire series.
Coach, you've got basically a young core, and then you have your reliables. You have LA, we know LA Tenorio, what he brings to the table, especially in this kind of stage. You have Japet, you have Stanley, you have C-Stan, you have veterans like Jared as well. You have Juan Pesumal, who's also had winning championships with San Miguel. And then you have the young guys. You mentioned Jamie, it's his first finals. Of course, you still have Scotty there. You have Nards in this series against Bay Area. But do you, without giving away much, Coach, do you see your rotation? Will it be more on the reliables this time around, depending as well on the game and the schemes that Bay Area will be playing, or do you expect the young guys to deliver and come in here in this series, Coach?
Oh, I definitely think that Jamie and Maya will impact the series greatly. Those two guys bring a lot of athleticism. I think they match up well with the Bay Area. They can match up to the wings, the Lambs and the Blankleys. I think that's going to be key for us. When Bay Area plays with Powell, they're a much more up and down tempo type team. When they play with Nicholson, they're a little bit more of a half court set team. They want to keep Nicholson involved. Playing Nicholson's, a lot of it's going to be about how quick we can get down the floor. Can we pitch the ball ahead? Can we get it to Maya and Jamie in the open court? Those are the things that are going to be key. So I think our young guys are going to impact the series in many, many ways. But when it comes down to it, though, it's going to be about LA and Scotty and Japeth and Christian and those guys and Stanley making their impact on the game.
It's going to be a great series for sure. Before I let you both go, we're running out of time. 1B, one last question for Coach Tim. Do you have a question for Coach Tim, 1B?
Not really. I'm rooting for them, obviously. Coach Tim mentioned that he really they are going to be carrying more of the Philippines, quote unquote, in this matchup, and just proving that that's why they're Ginebra San Miguel, and that's why the most favored team in the land because of what they can bring. And so there's so much pride at stake. And so we with all due respect to Bay Area, obviously go GSM.
You know what? Good thing you mentioned it. I think this is the only time where we can say that we're rooting for Barangay Ginebra because it's against a foreign team. Compared to if they're facing San Miguel or something like that, you cannot say on air who you're rooting for. But this time around, we're all rooting for Coach Tim Cone, LA Tenorio, Scotty Thompson, Japet Aguilar, those guys, Justin Brownlee, and Barangay Ginebra. Coach Tim, advance Merry Christmas to you and your family. Maraming salamat. Congratulations for being back in the finals. And we'll talk to you for sure again when this series becomes underway starting Sunday. Good luck on Christmas Day. 1B, as always, a pleasure having you as well. Thank you. Coach Tim, maraming salamat.
All the best. Thank you. And yeah, hope we win a few games so I can be back on your program.